Hi everyone! In this video I will show you how to use the automatic mask and refine it without having to manually create paths. So I'm using Photoshop CC, and I highly recommend that you update your Photoshop because in the last few versions the masking tools are greatly improved and you will really be able to create very good masks very quickly using them. I decided to use the image that you had to edit in your latest achievement task because I think it's a very good example due to the fact that the original background is relatively dark while the new background is quite light. So in this case you do need to produce good edges in order to get a realistic result. And I will select the original layer, then go to select and mask, or you can see the shortcut here. Okay, first of all, let's change the view option to onion skin. This view option is great because it kind of mixes the old background and the new one, so you can really see what you are doing. And I will change the transparency to quite small percent because I want to see if there are parts of the subject that are cut out by the automatic mask that I need to bring back in. And it looks to me like part of her feet is cut off, so let's see what these tools here do. First of all, this one here is the quick selection tool, and it works just like the quick selection tool in the main Photoshop screen. Let's grab it, and you have this plus and minus here. So if you click the plus, you will be adding to the selection, and if you hit minus, you will be subtracting from it. And you can toggle between them by holding the Alt key or releasing it. Okay, so let's go to her feet and try to add what is missing. And let's change the transparency. You see that the quick selection tool didn't work very well here. It actually added much more than we want. So hit Alt and subtract. And here we have parts of the original background that we don't need. Let's remove them. Here as well. And I think that's a good start. Another tool you can use to add or subtract from the selection is the lasso tool. You have the regular lasso tool and the polygonal lasso tool within the menu. Let's get the regular one and just hold Alt and remove this part here. And now let's move on to the actual refining of the mask. Over here you have the edge detection menu. What it does is it tries to guess where the edge that we're looking for is, and I do think it does a pretty good job, especially if you check this box here, Smart Radius, and then you just need to start moving the slider until you get to a point that looks the best. Let me just hide the background layer completely, and let's experiment with this slider here. So you see at 45 pixels, I think everything is too smudged, although the actual edges don't look bad. Let's bring it down. So about 15-16 pixels works the best in this case, and the radius will be different for the different files, probably depending on the resolution of the image. So the mask is starting to look quite decent, and let's go ahead and apply some more adjustments to it and make it even better. Over here under global refinements, you can turn on the smooth. No need to overdo this. Just probably leave it at 4 or even 3. Again, depending on the file size, it may turn out that you need to do more smoothing for larger files. And then to get rid of all these smudged edges here, we can use the Shift Edge feature and actually shrink the mask in a way. I find that 20% looks good. We can also feather. We can add decent amount of feathering, even if the edges look too soft like they do now. We can fix it by moving the contrast slider. At this point, just move it until the edges look good enough, and I think that's fine. And at this point I think we have most of the mask ready. We can continue to refine it using the tools in the menu here. This one is the brush tool. It works like a regular brush, so you can add and subtract to the selection with it. And this is the Refine Edge tool. It actually doesn't work so well on the edges that are relatively hard, so I suggest you use it when you want to select hair or other fine details. Then it does a really great job. Let me fix this edge here. And at this point, let's just click OK. So if you go to the history, here is the mask as it was created by the artificial intelligence. And here's what we were able to do with some brushing and auto refining. If you want to evaluate how good the mask is, let's just turn it into selection and then hide it. And you see how close to the edges the selection is. Of course, the hair is not looking good, but hair is always refined separately when making selections. And you see that here the arm is a bit overclipped, and probably the shoes a little bit here, and this can be very easily fixed. Let me duplicate this layer and then turn off its opacity and then turn on the mask Sorry, I changed the opacity of the wrong layer. And here, now you can see what part of the arm needs to be brought back. You can either do that with the pen tool, but the selection that you need to make is probably 10% of the whole body, or you can just do that with a brush. And I think that this is a pretty accurate mask. Now, notice that we have these dark edges, dark outlines around the edges at places which are actually parts of the old background. The mask could not be automatically refined so well in those parts. And instead of just brushing and refining the edge, which can be a pain, I will show you a quick trick. Make a blank layer over the layer of the subject and clip it to the subject layer. Then grab a brush and select a color near the edge and just paint over the black outlines to hide them. This is much quicker and easier than trying to get the edge perfect within the mask layer. And there you go. I think the mask is looking pretty great now. I will not be refining the hair within this video because you all know how to do that. This video focuses on some tips for refining the hard edges within the mask. So I used the automatic mask as a base, and with a little bit of brushing and leveraging the automatic selection tools, I was able to get it up to a point where the hard edges are looking good enough. And this video may turn out long because all of the talking I did, but if I was fully focused on the editing only, I would be able to do that in 3 or 4 minutes and then probably finish the image in 2 more minutes or so. So if you can't update your Photoshop to the latest version, versions CS5 to CS6 have similar features. You can check out the Refine Mask menu, and I encourage you to explore all these techniques so you'll be able to speed up your workflow for the art tasks. I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Bye.